Florida and Florida's coast. Beautiful beaches, awesome weather, and an all-around great place to live. But behind the beauty, the glitz that is the coastline of South Florida, is the corrosive agents which are present in the atmosphere in high concentrations, especially in the coastal regions. These naturally occurring substances seep into the concrete of the coastline structures and commences a process of rusting of the steel inside the concrete, which can eventually render it dangerous and even life-threatening. Hi, my name is Greg Batista, professional engineer and owner of Batista & Associates, an engineering and construction firm specializing in concrete repair right here in South Florida. Thanks for tuning in to this video. I made this video because I have worked with so many condo associations, property managers, and owners through the years that I know what your main concerns are. By the time this video is over, you will have a pretty good understanding of what concrete spalling is, or how it originates, how to repair it, what is the process for repair with special emphasis on how it's done here in South Florida, and last but certainly not least, we will go over all the important question of the cost. Let's start with, what is concrete spalling? The South Florida coastal area and the numerous adjoining waterways are a prime environment for steel to corrode. If you ever lived near the coast for any significant amount of time, you have seen the damage to property that this rusting can cause. I'm sure you've seen it. Cracks or portions of the concrete that are just ready to break free. When you take a hammer to it, it exposes the rusted steel reinforcement, or rebar. The technical term for this cracking in the concrete is called spalling. Not all cracks are spalling. Some spalling is more serious than others. An engineer such as myself will be the person to perform the required testing to determine if it is structures, in a slab, on a beam, or in other sensitive areas such as the balconies, and even at the sliding glass doors, or God forbid, even inside the unit itself. Why does this happen? Your steel in your concrete under ideal conditions will not rust. However, in severe environments where seawater is present in the air, chlorides, represented here by this particle, will seep into the concrete. Your concrete looks like a solid, but in reality it contains millions and millions of tiny microscopic pores. The chlorides reach the steel and there it begins to rust. Once the rust begins, it's almost impossible to stop. The rust makes the reinforcing steel expand and grow up to 7 times the original volume. There comes a point where the concrete just can't take it anymore, and it ruptures. This is not the real danger though. Although falling pieces of concrete can cause damage to life and property. No, the real danger here is much more insidious. You see, as reinforcing steel becomes weaker, the concrete structures as a whole become weaker. The concrete structure will eventually collapse, resulting in serious damages. This is why all coastal cities here in South Florida, from Boca to the Keys, institute a permitting process where these damages are identified, classified, documented, submitted, approved for repairs, and finally repaired. This is where hiring an engineer is critical, since it is the engineer that will guide you through the entire process. The process of performing concrete repairs is complicated, but to try to keep it simple, I've broke it down into 9 basic steps. Step 1, choose your engineer. Step 2, identify, classify, and quantify. We'll call this document number 1. We'll talk about the documents later. Step 3, plans and specifications. Let's call that document number 2. Step 4, bidding sheet. Let's call that one document number 3. Step 5, choose a contractor. Step 6, permitting. Step 7, approval. Step 8, construction. And step 9, maintenance. Step 1 is to choose your engineer and not your contractor. Why? Because it is your engineer that is the professional that is qualified to help you through all the other steps. Choosing the right engineer is absolutely critical to the success of your restoration project. I've been working with concrete for over 20 years on the design, inspection, and the construction side. It is my specialty. I've been a licensed professional engineer since 1993 with over 20 years of experience in construction and in design. I've been director of the U.S. mainland chapter of the largest Hispanic professional engineering association here in the States. And I've been appointed and sat on to the Broward County Board of Unsafe Structures. I have an unblemished reputation here in South Florida. Make sure your engineer has the right qualifications and experience for the job. The next step is to identify, classify, and quantify the amount of concrete to be repaired. The engineer must scour the building in search of different concrete repairs, which must then will provide you with a proposal to perform the work. The engineer then puts together a document that not only has the quantities and classifications, but contains the materials to be used and the methods for repair. All these things together form the plans and specifications, which is step number 3. These plans and specifications are extremely important for 2 reasons. 1, they will be sent to different contractors so they can bid on the same quantities and methods of repair, so that the different prices that come in can be compared on an apples-to-apples basis. 2, these documents are what's going to be submitted to the city by the winning contractor, so they can pull a permit and start the work. Step 4 is the 3rd document called the bid sheet. This sheet is important since it is this document that will be sent to your prospective contractors, laying down the rules of the game, if you will. For example, you'll want to tell your prospective contractors things such as they cannot begin to work before 9 a.m. They want to know parking or security arrangements, if they will require special insurances to work there, or if they would require a bond, if they have to be done by a certain date or time, and the list goes on and on. These items are things that don't necessarily have to do with the performance of the work, but that you need them to know up front before they give you a price. Your engineer, especially one with extensive construction background, is critical in acting as your consultant in helping you make a wise choice. These 3 documents, the classification and quantification that your engineer came up with from step 2, together with the plans and specifications of step 3, together with the bid sheet of step 4, all together form what we will call the contract documents, or as we say it in the construction lingo, the CDs. Now that you have the CDs, you can give these documents to the prospective contractors so they can give you a price based on a set amount of quantities, a set type of material, along with the rules of the game. It is only then that you will be able to get pricing that you can then compare apples to apples with others. And then you will be able to have the information necessary to make a wise choice on who your contractor will be. I've tried to simplify this complex process into some basic steps, but with this knowledge, you will be more prepared to face the challenges ahead. You can click on the link below to get can be invaluable in making a wise choice by going through the bids and helping you interview the contractors and aiding in making the final choice. Now, every project is unique, and what may be good fit for one contractor on one job may not be a good fit for that contractor on another job. But there are a few basic tips that you should bear in mind. First, your bids, that's the price. The bids that come in will be your first real confrontation with the cost of having this work performed. But remember, you may have to add in your soft costs, such as painting, extra security, tile work, or waterproofing. Your engineer who has construction experience can assist you in developing your budget. Second, the cheapest is not necessarily the best. Third, ask for references and call them. Number 4, study the bids and shortlist the contractors to 2 or 3 and then interview them. And have your engineer present. if possible. Once you choose a contractor, it is advisable to hire an attorney to best protect your interests, to guide you through the contract process. Remember that your contract is the centerpiece of your project. The American Institute of Architects, or the AIA, has many templates available that are widely used in the construction industry, and most contractors are familiar with. Your contractor may have their own contract, and you may decide to use theirs. The bottom line is, you have alternatives. Protect your interests.